So we will take darshan of their Lordship Shri Shri Jagannath Baladev Devi Subhadra Gauranitai. Shri Jagannath Baladev Devi Subhadra ki jai, Shri Shri Gauranitai ki jai. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Urmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabho Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gauravakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Om Tat Sat. So today's discussion is on the 12th chapter, which is entitled Devotional Service. We will be taking up verse number 16. So let's read the verse. Anapekshah suchirdaksha udasino gata vyataha sarvaramba parityagi yomat bhaktaha same priyaha. Translation: my devotee who is not dependent on the ordinary course of activities, who is pure, expert, without cares, free from all pains, and not striving for some result is very dear to me. Okay. So now let's try to discuss this verse. So this chapter is actually the most important chapter, as in you get a direct answer to why Krishna consciousness, or why even personal conception of God, or what is the position of conception of personal personality of Godhead versus the unmanifested feature of the God. So here Arjuna asks a direct question, like not touching the nose like this. He's directly asking, which one is better? Directly doing devotional service to you, Krishna. That is, he's referring to Krishna there. Directly doing devotional service to you, or worshipping you in the unmanifested form. That means the Lord has many energies. The Brahman, which is one of the most important feature of that Lord, and everything that pervades within that. Then, is it better to do this or better to do this? And the Lord very clearly, categorically says, while he's saying both are good, he also clearly clarifies the unmanifested, worshipping the unmanifested form is troublesome, and it is not easy to get to the end result. And then on the other hand, he immediately says, but those who worship me directly in my personal form, for them I am the swift deliverer. So he's without any ambiguity, Krishna is actually saying that, I am a person, and one has to actually develop that personal relationship with me. Then he goes on to give further thing. Okay, if you are not able to relate to me personally, that means here it is not about, okay, if you can't relate to me personally, you do it impersonally. He's not saying like that. He's saying if you can't relate to me directly, personally, then he's coming step by step to say how you can still be attached to the person, but look at his various other activities, serving in various other aspects to his personal form, not to the unmanifested form. So that goes on for a few verses where he talks about if you can't actually dedicate yourself to me, then you work for me. That work for me is not to the unmanifested form. He is directly saying, work for me. Direct worship to me is better. If you can't, then work for me. That means work for Krishna. Not directly, in a sense, like if you are not directly engaged in, say, preaching the message of Godhead, or directly not doing deity worship of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Then he's saying, work for me. Then he says, you take up some service in my office, like, in this temple, take up some service, like, you can drive a car in the temple, that is, those kind of things you can actually do, which is not, in one sense, not directly to the deity, right? Like that. But he's saying the first one is directly to me, to the direct form of Krishna, or you work for him. Like that, he goes on giving many simple ways by which you can actually develop attachment to the form of the Lord, personal form of the Lord, than to the unmanifested form. Now, in the last two verses before this, and in this verse also, the Lord comes back to the quality of a person who's actually taking up to this pure devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now, if he's actually doing that, what are the benefits that that person is getting? Of course, we don't look at it as a benefit. Okay, I will do this because I get this. But when the person actually engages in the Lord's service, these things are automatically manifest in him. And when these things manifest, the Lord says, I am happy I'm happy, and that person becomes very dear to me. So in that respect, a few of the qualities have been discussed in this verse 16, while in the previous two verses also you would have seen some qualities have been described by the Lord. And he continues to go on with the next few verses also like that. So now let's try to discuss in this verse, what are the specific qualities which the Lord is saying. When we develop that, we become dear to the Lord. So he says that my devotee who is not dependent on the ordinary course of activities. So there are many specific qualities he's giving. It's not like a generalized thing he's giving. He is not dependent on the ordinary course of activities. So here Prabhupada explains, when you say ordinary course of activities, what he means there is someone who's actually, like, normally if you see what does the karmic kind of people do, ordinary course of activities, I educate, then I take up as look for a specific kind of a job, then I apply, then I get it, then I work hard to get the specific result, and then I get that result, or I don't get that result. I'm caught up in that I thing. But here it is mentioned, such a person is not actually governed by these kind of activities which are for gratification. That means all of the activities which a materialistic do, he may be looking to go to the college, he may be looking to accumulate knowledge. But if you really see why is he doing that, or why is she doing that, she is doing that to ensure he or she is actually getting enough money to make a nice living, thereby have a nice marriage, and then build the nice house, and then have that nice recognition in the society. And each one keeps building onto the other. One leads to the other, one leads to the other. It's all circling around that person. It's not about pure knowledge. I'm studying because I want to acquire pure knowledge. No. They are looking, therefore, what kind of a career will this subject, if I study this subject, what will give you? 99% of people are in that category. So, but this person is not actually looking at something like that from a sense gratificatory point of view. But of course, like, by the will of the Lord, if he is getting some money, he will accept it. He will not say, oh, money is untouchable, I will not touch it. He will take it in the course of whatever comes out of its free will. He will take it. He's not bound. Oh, I have to target to get this million or this 2 million or whatever. That is not his target. But if a million comes his way, he is not against that million. That is the point that is being discussed by Prabhupada here. The next point is who is pure. A pure devotee of the Lord, he actually keeps purity internally and externally. So if you see, generally it is advised all devotees to be very pure externally, to in one sense that we take bath twice a day. Keep your face clean. You don't have unkempt like lot of beard, and hair is like neatly maintained, short hair neatly maintained, and all the externals, like keep your nails clean and cut. All of these things are related to the bodily purification. Of course, there is also this one of the 4 regulative principles where one has to maintain purity in terms of not having unwanted relationships. That is also one of the the most significant representation of purity. That means no illicit sex. So like this, there are many things which talks about the purity of the body, but within that means the purity of the mind, the purity of the intelligence, the purity of the soul. Those things are also very important, and naturally such a person who is directly taking up devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he is already acquiring that portions of it. So that is the second portion. That means who is pure. The third one is expert. So expertness can be said in so many things. If you are if you have a very good understanding of machines, like you are an expert engineer, or if you have a very good having a very intricate knowledge about construction, then you are an expert civil engineer like this. But what is the topmost of all this expertness? That is important. Here we are not talking about ordinary small things, right? Krishna, in that 2 hours or 1.5 hours that he's talking to Arjuna, he's not going to go to the the smaller achievements. He's talking about the top things within that. So when he's talking about this expert, he's actually saying one who completely understands the entire purpose of life. So such is the expert. That means naturally, because he is an expert, because he's an expert, he's actually identified that personal form of the Lord is the ultimate thing to strive for in the life, and there's nothing else. That is therefore he's naturally an expert. There's nothing to build up some special skills to become an expert, because you have the highest of understanding, and therefore all your actions are also related to that highest understanding. Naturally, you are an expert, right? So that is there. And without cares. Without cares means, how do we understand that? Like, for example, if I am siding with something, right, then there is always a problem that someone from the other party may attack me, right? This is natural. Wherever there are two things, when you take to one side, then the other side is always against you. This is natural. So therefore, there is this kind of a fear psychosis. There's nothing like, I am carefree. How can you be carefree? Because you have, by taking a particular side, you have automatically created an enemy in the other side. And naturally, you cannot be carefree. There is always this element of fear. Oh, what will happen? How will they attack me? How will they attack me? This fear will always be there, and you cannot be carefree. But a person who's in Krishna consciousness, that means who's in direct devotional service, he is carefree because he is not attaching himself to anything or any, like he is samadarshanaha, they say, right? Panditaha samadarshanaha. That means he is actually having an equal vision to everything. So he's very comfortable talking to a man who is very good, and at the same time a man who is very bad. He has he's a bad man, he's a good man. He does not look at it like that, because he is not attached to any of these benefits or negatives of what the two other persons are. He is more interested in giving that true knowledge to knowledge, and that expertise of perfection in spiritual in life. Why to call it spiritual life? Perfection in life. He is more interested in giving that, and naturally every other party are actually very favorable to him because he is a well-wisher of everyone. Therefore, he has no cares, he has no fear. That is the point that Prabhupada is trying to explain here. And free from all pains. So pains here are referred to, again, it can be also pain which is inflicted by so many, like when you are taking sides, then there is other person who's hurting you, there is pain. And when we are looking at pain, the point is it is always related to the body. That means body, mind, and intelligence. So I am pained. When someone is shouting at me, I feel I am pained. It's not like someone is beating me, but the words hurt me. Therefore, I feel pained. This is what it is meant. But pure devotee of the Lord, he is not in the body platform, and therefore he is not attaching these attacks, if at all there is any, as a personal against him, because he knows the body is a designation. I am an Indian, I am I am a CEO, I am a husband, I am a wife, I am a father. These are all designations. So anything which happens in relation to that is actually to do with the designation, not with the me. I am a pure soul, which is just the occupier of this body with 9 gates. So he does not take it as me refers to, that body. And therefore he feels all of these things which is happening, pain in the body is in relation to only the vehicle, not to the person within the vehicle. And therefore he is not at all affected. He is aloof from the body in that sense. And therefore the pain does not affect him. So that is the other point about a pure devotee. And finally, and not striving for some results. This is also very most important. That means his endeavors are not to get some benefit. See, when we strive for some results, why do we strive in the first place? To get the benefit. Otherwise, why should you strive at all? From a material point of view, I endeavor so much. Why? I want to get it. It could be name, fame, wealth, whatever it is. But we put in so much of effort because I want to achieve this. And that achieving is actually related to something to do with this body, mind, and intelligence. So, but in this case, he is not striving for some results. So when he says that, does it mean he does not act? No, he acts, but he acts for the pleasure of the Lord and not for the results of that activity. That is the meaning. So, for example, you strive hard to construct a house, perfect house, very beautiful house. That is to enhance your sense of security, your sense of aesthetics of, I have built a beautiful house. We all do this, right? When some guests come, we take them to all the rooms and do every small things in the house and explain that, this was done with this purpose, to say how I am beautifully thinking, how I have constructed this house, like that we are thinking. So this striving is to get that recognition or to show that, I am great, or to create that security around my body, right? My thinking that I am the body. But pure devotee, he will strive, but not for this kind of a recognition from the body point of view, but for the Lord. So Prabhupada gives this example of striving to build a temple. Now, there also you'll have to say how beautifully that has to be done, because for the pleasure of Krishna and for the Lord and for his devotees. Like, so you make with marble, you do this, and you strive hard, you put in so much of effort. But when you will say, no, this is so nice that Krishna's palace has to look like this. Therefore, it is not for me. So that means he will take so much of anxiety to ensure that is done. We are also seeing our own temple is getting constructed. Our Seshadripuram temple, the devotees take so much of pain, anxiety. When will this come up? Where will the money come from? How do we plan for it? These things are there, but that is not this material way of looking at it. This is from the highest point of devotional service. So like this, we can extend this to many categories like that. And we can apply these principles in our life to see how we can practice. Sometimes, at least I am talking for myself, we cannot artificially think that I have arrived. I am actually in this state. But then in our day-to-day, whatever activities we do, if we are able to try and relate to these things and slowly put that in relation to Krishna and not in relation to me and my body, slowly we will actually come to that perfection. But most importantly, if you are able to attach yourself to the personal feature of the Lord and try to develop that relationship with the Lord, these things will automatically manifest. That is very important. That's why it said Bhakti Yoga is the most easiest form, right? There is nothing to look for things in an abstract way. Directly look at that thing and you can immediately relate and you can immediately execute. And when you execute, these properties, these qualities automatically manifest in the person. So all we need to do is simply chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Listen to the beautiful scriptures, Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita. Take Krishna Prasadam, associate with devotees. That's it. You simply do some, start doing some small services, and as per your capacity, keep increasing them, and we will actually attain perfection. Hare Krishna. And stop here.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.